So for the last part of this tutorial, we are going to create a shadow just under the bottle here. So just under the layer 1 that I'm going to call rename bottle. So this one is the light glow, and this one is the glow under. So I advise you to just rename your layer and to be more organized. So just under the bottle, I'm going to create a new fresh layer. You can click on this icon, or you can press Ctrl Shift and N to create a new layer, and this one's going to be called shadow. Okay, to create the shadow, I want something with this purple color into the bottle. So you're going to press B in order to pick your brush tool, and to move your brush tool to enhance the color, to change the size of the hardness, the thickness, you have to, if you are on a PC, you hold Alt, and with your right click you go to the right or to the left to make it bigger or smaller, and you can go to the top or to the bottom to change the hardness of your brush. If you are on a Mac, you have to hold Control and Option in order to do the same kind of moving element. So I don't have any colors for the moment, it's just white. So if I'm clicking here, just gonna set some white element. If I hold Alt or Option, I'm gonna grab here one of the colors. So as you can see, the color that I grab, it's purple color. So I'm gonna click on OK. You have to here change the hardness to 0, and I'm gonna avoid the limit of the canvas here. So I'm gonna set into the center, and I'm gonna just click 1 or 2 times here. You can see that my flows here are at 39%. So, but even if you are 100%, just gonna change the way it's pushing the color here. So once you have created your shadow here, you are going to press Ctrl T in order to transform it, holding Shift in order to be able to stretch it. And we are going as well to make it smaller, and we're just going to make it more flat. Once you have done this element, into the opacity level, we are going to change it to readjust the settings here. And as you can see, that's create a nice shadow and the effect that our bottle is in the air here. You can as well, if you want some different kind of colors, some different element here, you can add some other layers. And you can, for example, pick the pinkish color here to create some other effect of color here. And you can see trying to change the different kind of blending mode in order to check it could be okay. Here I use the hard lights element just in order to see what could be interesting in terms of color. If when I can pick this color and moving it around to see what could happen. So I think it's nice to have this kind of effect on the top of its element. But as you can see, it's changing a little bit too much the color onto my circle effect. So I can say to Photoshop that I'm gonna apply this element maybe just onto this part, or to avoid to have this element onto this one. So to do that here, it's gonna be really simple. I'm just gonna have to drag this element under, so that's going to be applied to the background but not onto our circular effect. So you are able to choose the way the effect is displayed. So that's really cool. If you want to enhance a little bit the way that the color is popping here, we are going to be able to add what we call an exposure layer adjustment setting. So into this little double color, like a yin yang menu here, you can add an exposure layer, and as you can see, if I'm pushing a little bit the exposure, it's gonna make it white a little bit more. And you can as well apply the gamma correction here to make it a little bit more to really enhance the light into it. So you don't have to abuse this kind of effect, because it's gonna change a lot the way the color is displayed. And that's good. As you can see, if I'm going too much, it's going to crush totally my effect. But mainly that's going to allow you to adjust the kind of color you can grab. So, and as you can see, if I'm putting my exposure effect on the top of the bottle, that don't change a lot, this kind of element. So I can let it on the top for the moment. So the last part of this element is going to be to set the logo. So I'm going to show you a technique to avoid to make a cutout of the logo. So into my sources logo, my source element, I'm going to pick the Lancôme logo, put that into the center and press enter. I don't need to have to make the cut out here. I'm just going to use a different blending mode in order to make the white disappear. So you're just going to use the multiply blend set mode to make disappear the white element. So now I'm pressing Ctrl T in order to transform. Hold Alt if you want to keep the center of gravity. And as you can see, if I'm going too loud, you're gonna reverse totally the logo, so you have to go gently with it. And we are going to set the logo just under the bottom here and move it a little bit to be sure that it's now on the center. So the main composition is done now. I'm just gonna set a little bit of composition here. So finally I'm gonna use the this ratio in order to cut my bottle. So I'm gonna rearrange these two elements, but I can, for example, move a little bit my element into it. Oops. So if you pick the crop tool here or press C in order to have the crop tool, it's just gonna set my crop tool to this element. And now I just have to rearrange my logo here. I'm gonna move that a little bit into the center. I can pick as well my shadow and my bottle to just rearrange them a little bit. So I'm just gonna rearrange that, because if we change the different kind of mockup we're gonna have, we're still gonna need to have the possibility to enhance and to edit this kind of element. If you want, for example, to change a little bit to have some more room for the logo, you just have to pick your crop tool. You're gonna clear the ratio here to be able to drag a little bit this element into this part. So that's gonna let some more room. My shadow here, it's a little bit maybe too wide, so I'm gonna stretch it a little bit again. Yep, so here we go. It's done mainly for this poster. So now to export that, you can go to File, and in the export mode you have lots of different options. The most precise way to do that is to save for web in the legacy mode, because that's gonna allow you to choose the settings here or to change the ratio of your element. So as you can see, my image is quite big because we choose an A4 format. So we can change the percent here, like to make 50% if we want to have a tiny image for the web. And then, as you can see, the final image is going to be set here. So you have your original untied element here, and this one's going to be to PNG 24. So you can change the format into this preset list. So you can choose the PNG 24 and say save when you're okay with it. So yep, I'm gonna save it on the desktop. I'm gonna call that Lancôme Pixel Stretch. And this is mainly done. I advise you as well to save the PSD if you want to make some more edit after. So this is mainly done for this tutorial. Hope you enjoy and you learn some stuff, and see you for the next tutorial.